Shalom, family. This is Reverend Wallace, and this is the first video that I'm going to compile, which will be entitled Manna Perspectives. And I would like to give you a scripture, a paradigm scripture that we're going to use for this, for the heading for the Manna Perspective videos, and it's found in the Shemot, and that's the Hebrew word for Exodus. And it's found in the Shemot 15, and it will be that last verse, verse 27. The Shemot 15, verse 27. And they came to Elim, which were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. Now, to put that scripture into perspective, the Israelites just got through wandering through the wilderness after they got freed from Egypt, and they were out in the wilderness, out in the desert, and they happened upon 12 living wells of water. And if that wasn't good enough, they found 70 palm trees. A score is 20. So they've got 60 and 10 palm trees. That's 70 palm trees. And so I think that's a good paradigmatic scripture to use for this Manna Perspective videos, because I think if we hone in on God and believe in God, He will open us brand new perspectives in a so-called desert place. A lot of times we go through life and it's dried up, but if we hone in on God, He will open up something brand new, something that you've never seen before. And so the first thing we will tackle in these Manna Perspective videos, and I started this culmination in the other videos, but here we're going to start this on this venue here, tackling the tithe and offering problem that we have culminated. We have to get one thing construed: Satan is a trickster. He is a liar. He is a father of lies. And if you give him an inkling, give him a little crack, he will sneak in and trick your whole life. And we will hone in on this, and then we will be able to show that what we have culminated into tithes and offering does not resemble Christ at all. And this will be something that we will induct in all of these Manna Perspective videos. If it's not Christ, and always remember this through your whole life, if it's not Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus of Nazareth, if you couldn't see Him doing it, then 9 times out of 10 it's not Him. Not even 9 times out of 10. If it doesn't resemble Him, it's not Him. So now we're going to look at the famous paradigm scripture that we have used to support the fact that we have to pay tithes. We have to pay tithes to be blessed. We have to pay tithes to live. This is the lie that they've culminated. And we have to pay tithes in order to get wonderful blessings in our lives. Now that we have spoke about a blessing, what an all-knowing, all-seeing God, ubiquitous God, and we'll map out what the word ubiquitous means. Omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent God. Would He bless you with a frivolous blessing? Would God give you a brand new car? Would He give you a fine home? Brand new clothes to wear? Or would a all-knowing spirit induct something inside of your heart that no man can take from you? And I don't want to pose that question to unction you, but Just think about it. And we use that scripture, He'll open up a window of heaven and pour you out a blessing. And I once made a joke about that. I said, well, if God would rain down change, He better rain down dollar bills. Because if He rain down change from heaven, that's metal. And somebody might get hurt. So we even in that short synopsis, God is not giving us carnal things. And we look at all the pagan worshipers down throughout antiquity. The Egyptians were rich people. So if we base their holiness on what they had, they was it. They had everything. Everything in life you could want, they had. But then we'll see in Exodus how God dealt with them. It's not about what you get, the things that you put in your hands. And I think we learned that coming up through slavery. I think we learned that. But we have allowed Satan to sneak back in and boost this money thing back up. Now we're following the lie once again. You're not going to tell me back in the 50s and 40s and 30s that black people was hung up on getting money. So we would so-called look at the adversarial things that was going on in our lives. And we'll say, well, they got it all and we have nothing. But now the tables have turned. Now we have started to get stuff. And now we think money is all it is. We stand in the pulpits with big elaborate robes. We reap in all this tithe money. And we say, if you're not getting something in your life, you're obviously not godly enough. And it's totally erroneous. So we'll look at this scripture. We all know it. Malachi 3, starting with the 8th verse. And we know that. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Verse 9, ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Now verse 10 is going to be our evidence that we have twisted this tithe paying in the wrong direction. Look at verse 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And we can just stop right there at the comma. God says bring the tithes into the storehouse. Did God say bring it into your house? Whatever your address is, did He say bring it to your house? Then God reiterates it again. He says that there may be meat in mine house. Not meat in your house, but meat in His house, the household of God. Now we learn something about an idiom. An idiom is a term in the English vernacular that means a word or a group of words that are used to express a thought or to express or to determine another word. So in this particular incident, you could see this word meat. Meat could be your idiom or idiomatic word for anything you want to place in that context. But you would have to place something that would fit into the sentence. So you could place money or monetary gain in that place. So we said that there may be money in mine house. But God is saying the money is supposed to be appropriated for the benefit of the church. We look at Christ. We are supposed to emulate Christ. Christ walked everywhere He went. You never saw Him asking for tithe money. Even one incident, they were bickering about the disciples, the Talmudim. And the Pharisees were trying to find anything they could on Christ. So they said, well, your disciples are not paying tithes. Or they said they're not paying the tax. Christ told Peter, Throw your reel out into the river, and the first fish you pull up, look inside of the fish's mouth, and there you'll find enough money, enough tax money for me and for thee. Christ never spoke about tithes. You'll find tithes only 3 times in the Besorah, or that's the Hebrew word for the Gospels. You have in our modern canon, you have the first 5 books, which is the Torah. You have the Haftarah, which is the book of the prophets. Then you'll have Proverbs and Psalms. Then you'll move on to the New Testament, which starts off with the Besorah, or the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Then you move on to the epistles, the letters of Paul. Then at the end you'll find the Hitgalut, which is Revelation, a revelatory vision that was given to Yochanan or John. So I just gave you a brief rundown of the Bible. So in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, you only find the word tithe 3 times. Once in Matthew and twice in Luke. So why are we honing in on paying money? It's another twisting by the adversary. It's another twisting by Abaddon. And we'll get into studies on Abaddon or Apollyon. And both those names means destroyer. So this is the first video of many more that will be culminated under New Manna Ministries. I think this was a good beginning video to start to diminish lies. Once again, if you plant seeds, good or bad seeds have to be planted. Weeds grow just like flowers grow. At some point in our lives, bad seeds have been planted. But if we plant more good seeds, the good seeds will grow and win out over the weeds. This has been the first video, New Manna Perspectives. This is Reverend Wallace signing out. Shalom Yadadim.